Hi everyone, today we're going to continue our candidates preview. We are exactly 1 week away from the first round in Madrid. Alright, so in this episode of the series, we will be having a look at Jan-Krzysztof Duda. Now, Jan-Krzysztof Duda, he is from Poland. He's 24 years old. He's the second youngest participant in the candidates tournament, and he has a live rating of 2750 as of June 10th, 2022, the day of this recording. His qualification path to the candidates was that he is the 2021 FIDE World Cup winner. It's his first time playing in the candidates tournament, and on his way to win the 2021 FIDE World Cup, he defeated Magnus Carlsen in the semi-finals. So not only did he beat Magnus the day, on that same day he also qualified to the candidates. So that was a pretty big day for him. But let's have a quick look at what we can expect from him in the candidates. Alright, so I have selected the following games from him. So this game was played in Wijk aan Zee, his most recent tournament in January. He hasn't played anything after that. So he was playing Richard Rapport, who responded with knight f6. He played knight f3, and it went into London. So what I would say Duda's biggest strength is that he's very good in these original type of positions. Well, he goes for a quick queen b3, hitting this pawn over here. Bishop d6, bishop g3, takes, rook b8, knight c3, and here a very surprising move by Rapport, pawn to b5. Bishop e2, castles, rook d1, queen e7, and he went knight e5, threatening knight c6, b4 by Rapport. Now there's a lot of stuff to calculate here. I mean, if white goes knight c6, black wants to take here, take, sack the queen, because you cannot take, because then you lose the queen back. And black gets a lot of, compensation here if you were to move the queen. I mean, c2, for example, followed by knight b6. Very, very complicated stuff, but as I said before, Duda's generally pretty good in navigating the complications. He went knight e4 instead. Rapport took an e5, played knight e4, and after f3, here, Duda pretty much sacrificed the pawn. Alright, so queen takes c5, king f2, takes. So even though white's down a pawn here, we will see shortly that white actually has a better position, because right here, like, all of black's pieces are pretty passive. Bishop on g6 is stuck looking at this pawn over here. White controls the only open file on the board. Okay, rook d1, rook d2, h4, takes, queen h2, bishop f1, black took here, king g3. But once again, it's just very difficult for black to play this position. c5, and Duda quickly size control over this game. He put his bishop on c4, pawn b3. Now there isn't really much black can do, and Duda managed to gradually outplay his opponent. And after bishop h5 here, he came up with a very nice plan. He played king to g3, g6, rook d3, defending this pawn over here, because after rook be8, he went king h4, king g7, king g5. And there's simply nothing black can do in this position. All of his pieces are completely stuck. I mean, look at this. Just try coming up with a move here. Anyway, Rapport played rook h8, rook c7, and after some shuffling back and forth, eventually Duda managed to find the winning plan. He doubled his rooks on the 7th rank, and after rook hf8, he found f5. A very nice finishing touch. Black's position is just collapsing. Let's say you take an f5, white's just going to recapture, with still a lot of pressure on e6, and white is just crashing through. Once again, black's extra pawn on this side of the board is just useless. So this is really what I would say is Duda's strength, how he manages to navigate complications. That's also how he beat Magnus. But what I would say is a bit of his weakness is sometimes his time management. He also had a game in that tournament where he played Shakir Mamedyarov with the black pieces, and it started off in this new line in the semi-tirage, 64, e5, e4, and they found this new endgame where black gets these double isolated pawns in the center and a king on d8, but it seems to be that black is just completely fine here, and actually quickly Duda managed to get a better position. Knight d7, king b1, knight e5, bishop b3, king f6, h1, rook e8. Around here it was still equal, but at some point Shakir went going wrong, probably with this move h4, because soon this pawn was gonna be lost. But as the game progressed, so it was all looking great for Duda. Captures this pawn on h4. And around here, black is actually very close to winning. h4, very nice move. If white takes here, we have rook takes f2. And we win the game because we have the two minor pieces against the rook. So rook e3 instead by Shaq. And around here is where Duda started to drift. He played the move e4, knight takes f5. Good move by Shaq, trying to complicate. Rook takes c2. And bishop c5. And he probably missed his g4 push by Shaq. And after king g5, white played f4. Now black is forced to give up a minor piece. But he's probably still okay because he has the strong passed h-pawn. King f3 was probably a mistake. He should have passed the pawn. But here Duda was getting low on time. And that's where he made mistakes. So he went king f3, rook b4, h3, rook c3 check. The king went back. And after rook c4, rook f8, white took here. And black is simply lost because your rook has to keep defending this knight. So it cannot stop this rook from, checking the king and going after this pawn over here. So h2 was played, rook h7, king g3, king b3, and Duda resigned. A very tough loss for Duda because, as we said before, he was winning in that game, but in the time scramble, things, went wrong. And actually, also in the tournament, he wasn't really able to recover. And Tarasil chess is very much like the candidates. It's 13 rounds. The candidates is 14. And if you have such a disappointing loss, you have to be able to recover from that. And Duda wasn't quite able to do so. Before this round, he was on +1, and he finished the tournament on -1. Now, what I would also say is that occasionally Duda does get out-prepared in the opening. This was a game he played last year against Sam Shankland with the black pieces, which is already more or less 1 year ago, but I still think the game was quite illustrative of how, the players will try to go after him in the candidate. So he played the Najdorf. I'm very curious to see what he will play in the candidates. I think it's more likely that he will play something solid like the Petrov defense or the Berlin. So e5, knight b3. Now all of this is theory, so don't want to spend too much time on this. g4, b5, g5, all very sharp stuff. I have some experience with playing knight h5 in this position, but Duda played b4. But Sam had it all prepared very, very deeply. Like all of this is pretty much forced. a4, white took here, black took here, and don't ask me how, but it all works out. Bishop h3, knight c7, king b1. But somewhere things went wrong for Duda. As you can see, the evil bar is slowly but surely creeping up. Pawn at d5. Sam took here, bishop g2, rook a5 here. Great move by Sam, a4. Creating a passer, making sure black never has any attack on the a file. And black cannot take because then you hang your rook. So king h8 by Duda. Rook h1, rook a6, h4. And I really like how Sam played this game. Bishop, rook to d6, bishop g1. And, white has a lot of pressure against black center. This is weak. And this is really the main reason why Duda lost this game. He simply got out-prepared by Sam. So he's got to be really careful of that in the candidates. Knight f4, bishop c6, takes, the knight went to b8. And, well, eventually Duda did lose the game. So, how he lost the game is not really that relevant. But like I said, it will be important for him not to be out-prepared in too many games in the candidates. So Sam finished the game off in style by an exchange sacrifice, and now knight d7. Pretty much forking everything. Black's king is super exposed. So Duda resigned. So once again, he needs to not fall into games like this in the candidates. But if we have a quick look at his pairings, they are quite favorable for him, I would say. Because if we have a quick look here, we see that he's playing Rapport in the first round with the white pieces. We saw how he beat him in his last tournament with white in the very first round. And he actually has the double white. So he's starting with two whites. He's playing Ding Liren in the second game. Ding is very solid. So I'm curious to see how he will try to pose problems to him. Then he's playing with black against Caruana. That is a tough pairing. And then he's playing Radjabov, who's really the player who's most out of form. So if he wants to have a chance, I think he needs to strike in the first couple of rounds. But we will see how it all will go. Which brings us to our last point, his chance to win. I predict that Duda has a 5% chance to win. Let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree, or what you guys think are his chances. And I look forward to seeing y'all in the next video, in which we will be previewing none other than Hikaru Nakamura. I look forward to seeing y'all in that video.